Even though the war in Iraq is over and Afghanistan is winding down, U.S. forces must remain on high alert, continue training, and always be ready to meet any challenge that may present itself, anywhere, anytime.
We understand that the Army could call us to go anywhere to fight any mission at any time.
The 3rd Brigade's 2nd Battalion 69th Armor Regiment recently took part in a Joint Operations Access Exercise, or JOAX, in order to be ready to deploy as part of a global response force and conduct force entry operations anywhere on the planet at a moment's notice.
What we're trying to do as an Army is get back to our expeditionary roots. The JOAX, ultimately what we're trying to train is actually taking armored forces from here at Fort Benning, Fort Stewart, wherever they may be, and actually insert them into a country or wherever we're going to attack into. And here it'll be simulated up at Fort Bragg.
The soldiers of 269 Armor received their orders and got right to work, preparing themselves and their big guns to move out to Lawson Army Airfield and onto aircraft.
We prep the vehicles to the standards of the Air Force and to the installation, and then from there they get put on hets and they get headed down all the way to the airfield, and from there they'll get weighed and they'll get their center balance. They go on pretty much a giant beam, and it shows where the center balance of that vehicle is, so when it goes onto the aircraft they can balance it correctly in the load cargo bay.
Once the C-17s arrived, the Panthers quickly moved their vehicles and equipment onto the birds so they could get airborne and get to their objective at Fort Bragg, North Carolina.
We have a very short window, just like we would in a real-world deployment, to put these vehicles onto the C-17s. That's why we're doing this preparation, is so we can have all the elements ready to go as soon as those planes land. Once they land, it's a simple matter of driving them on, cinching them down, and then they can take off.
Once at Fort Bragg, they linked up with and provided armor support to the 82nd Airborne.
The 82nd will jump in, they'll secure the airfield, and then the C-17s will be called forward to land in those different areas. And then they move off the planes, they roll off, they prepare the vehicle, their final preps for combat, and then they're able to plug in directly into the ground tactical plans.
The Joint Operation Access Exercise prepares service units identified as the Global Response Force to be ready to deploy on short notice, work together, and perform sustained full-spectrum operations in response to any global emergency.
The great part of the way that our Army is organized these days, and the way that we equip and the way that we train, is that you can plug and play. You can take 269 Armor and we can attach it to an infantry brigade combat team. You can put it in with a striker brigade combat team, or we can go as a part of our full-up sledgehammer brigade combat team and fight as part of another division headquarters. So it provides a huge capability to the Army.
This is an important exercise that we take part in. It's a joint exercise, and regardless of the uniform you're wearing when you're actually over there, it's important that we all work together towards that unified purpose.
When we fight as a full combined arms team is when we are most capable, most lethal.